All right, welcome into the Paul Farrington Show. Paul Farrington joined by Robert Ziggy Ziegler back at the University of Virginia for just a miserable, terrible, tragic, sad, disappointing Vikings-Rams live reaction show. These are the shows that tend to do well on this channel, so hopefully we have a great night here. It will be the only great aspect of football. Look at your face, Ziggy. The unfathomable sadness. It is unfathomable just how terrible this great season ended. 14-3. I've said it so many times on this show. Just an amazing record. Great year. So much fun. Darnold gets carried off the field, essentially. Carried in the locker room. Champagne shower after the Packer game. The defense looks like it's the best in the world. Darnold looks like an MVP candidate. I tweeted. I was saying he's an MVP candidate. And for the collapse that this team had against the Lions and against the Rams, I just don't get it. I don't know how it happened. A lot of people were saying frauds, and the whole year I disagreed. But there was a difference. The 2022 team, we looked at that team, and they were barely escaping games. They were getting lucky breaks. The defense was horrible. It was ranked one of the worst in the league. They were getting torn apart week after week. You had I think it was Ed Donatel was saying, we're going to change the defense before the Giant game, and they got picked apart. They gave Daniel Jones the $40 million a year contract that he received because he was so good against them. That was not this team. This team was 14-3, dominating teams at times. There were some close games, but this was one of the best defenses in football. Sam Darnold was one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And then it all went to hell. And I'm not really sure what happened. So before I get there's still 6 minutes and 42 seconds left in this game, so if there's a miracle, you'll see it live, and we'll have some unbelievable clips. Show might take off if that happens. But Ziggy, you look like the definition of sadness in this moment here. What happened?
I don't know, Paul. It's hard to even put this into words. I feel like I've finally been inducted into Vikings fandom. I mean, look,
Welcome.
Everything about this game is trending Vikings, right? The Rams aren't even playing at home. They're both sort of on the road in an unfamiliar stadium. The Vikings, as you said, have been the better team basically all year. I know the Rams beat them when they played a while ago, but the Rams, if you look at the total season, the Vikings had the better quarterback than the Rams. They had the better running game than the Rams. They have at least equal receivers than the Rams. They have the better defense than the Rams. They've got the better offense, the better defense, the better special teams. Everything about this Vikings team was better than the Rams. But there's one thing I forgot. It's the Minnesota Vikings. What did we say? We said it as early as week 4 when this team was starting to go on a run. What would be the worst thing the Vikings could do? It's not to collapse week 4. It's not to have that little run be illusory. It's to give you hope. It's to win a bunch of games in the regular season, barely miss out on the 1 seed, barely miss out on the bye because they're in the hardest division in football, go on the road to a mediocre Rams team, a mediocre Bucs team, a mediocre Falcons team, and just get smoked, get absolutely run out of the building. Like it would be bad enough the Vikings are losing this game. I feel terrible if the Vikings are losing, but if they put up a fight, if they at least showed they were a decent football team, you could leave saying, look, we surpassed expectations for the year. Nobody thought they'd even be making the playoffs. Fair enough. They don't look like they're playing the same sport as the Los Angeles Rams. The Vikings are putrid. Sam Darnold looks like he's back in New York. We've seen it 2 weeks in a row now. He's getting sacked every other play. He's missing throws left and right. The defense, we're not getting to Matthew Stafford. Apparently, Sean McVay just has our number. You would have thought Kevin O'Connell working with the Rams, coming up with those game plans would have some insight into what the Rams are going to do. It looks like we were totally unprepared. And the Vikings just rolled over from the first drive. We knew the outcome of this game.
The first play. It's 27 yards right down the middle of the field, wide open. It's exactly the same way it was in the first game that they played. Just people wide open. And the defense settled down, Ziggy. Let's talk about the defense settled down a little bit. And it was the offense. It was Darnold again that ended the game. I have to say, too, I think I love Kevin O'Connell. I think he's one of the best coaches in the league. I didn't think KOC coached a very good game tonight either. It was the fumble return for a touchdown, followed up by not punting it there. I mean, I understand that you need something to go your way, but down 17-3, it's still a game. I understand the feeling of, we need to get something going. And if we pick this up, get some points, 17-6 at halftime, best case scenario, 17-10. With the way the game was trending, punt the ball, 17-3 at half, figure it out. It's a game. That last touchdown to make it 24-3, that made it feel impossible coming out of half. And I just thought, the challenge that we had when Kyron was clearly down, I understand that you're trying to get momentum. You're trying to have something go your way, but
that's never going your way.
You need to coach smart. And here at the end, I mean, there's still 5.5 minutes left right now, but like half the fourth quarter, we were running the ball. I'm like, guys, you're down 18. It's the start of the fourth quarter. Throw it.
If Sam Darnold can't make a throw and is taking a sack every time you need something from him, like Kevin O'Connell, I'm not saying he was perfect. There were problems. But just like the Packers game, I don't feel like it was LaFleur's. The main problem is Jordan Love. Sam Darnold made a mistake time and time again. Every single time it was critical that whatever Sam Darnold do, he not take a sack, he took a sack. He's probably tonight, he's taken more sacks than times he's thrown the ball away. He has 11 incompletions and 7 sacks. Like Sam Darnold was the number one problem this game without question. And let me tell you, nobody is going to be more hurt by this performance. Nobody is yelling at the TV more right now than Sam Darnold's agent. Because Sam Darnold's agent probably lost $20 million.
I feel bad for Sam. Sam, in the past 8 days, Sam probably lost $150 million. Because after the Packer game, he was in line to get a $50 million a year contract, probably for 4 years, $200 million deal. Like, even if you're overpaying him, he's going to get something close to that. And now it's like, I mean, again, I like Sam. He had a great season, but the past 2 weeks against the Lions and the Rams are the biggest games of his career. It's just horrible. And, Sam will be the first one to come out to the game and say, I need to be better again. It was on me. And I'm not going to kick a guy when he's down. So we don't need to get too into it. But, yeah, Sam was just miserable tonight. And the sacks, it wasn't even the turnovers the entire time. Obviously, the fumble was bad, but here we go again. He's just getting mauled out here, and he's not throwing the football.
And the offensive line didn't play great. There's no doubt about it. But, the situational awareness from Sam Darnold has been disastrous. And I've got to give a shout out, Caleb N coming in with a huge super chat. Have a drink on me.
You appreciate that, Caleb.
That really does make us feel better. I really appreciate it. I might be bringing out the alcohol tonight because
Ziggy, I've never seen Ziggy drink before in my life.
I've got a bottle of whiskey
tonight might be the night.
I'm thinking about it.
I remember before the Lion game started, some people might remember this from last week. My brother got me a bottle of Macallan 15 for Christmas, a whiskey bottle.
You're right, Paul. It's your fault. This is when you ruined the season. Tell the freaking story.
Yeah, my brother got a bottle of Macallan 15. It was in celebration of the channel reaching 15,000 subscribers. It was a really nice gift. And I came out before the game and I said, Matt, when we win tonight, when we beat the Lions and we go 15-3, we're going to break out this Macallan, celebration of the 1 seed, celebration of the channel doing well, and a celebration of 15 wins on the season. And what we scored? Have we scored a touchdown? We scored 1 touchdown since then. I mean, but going back at halftime, we were outscored 60-12 in 7 quarters. Going back to the Packer game, I don't know what happened, and it was just one of those games too where everything that could go wrong went wrong. We had the fumble return touchdown, and we're back in it. Of course he flicked it. Oh, and of course, no intentional grounding. We had to block punt.
But this is the thing, right? I should have known this was going to happen because after the Packers game in Philadelphia, the Vikings can't do better than the Packers ever, right? So, of course, when the Packers have a terrible game, the Vikings are just sitting in their room thinking, how can we outdo this? How can we have an even worse game that'll make the Packers look like the season ended on a Super Bowl? Well, here it is, guys. Here it is. And we've got some big super chats coming in. A Minnesota sports curse continues. Go Pack, go. Wow, Doge meme. Man, this is 2022 light. Sorry, guys. I don't know. To me, this feels worse than 2022 light.
This is worse.
And then Dan the DM, have a shot.
This is
I'm
miserable.
really thinking about it.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Thank you, guys. And here we're going deep. Let's see. It's probably going to get picked off. Okay.
Yep. Oh, well, I thought that was intercepted. It doesn't matter. This game's over.
Well, and Ziggy, the thing about this game and the thing about the past 2 weeks that is so unsettling is I hate to say this, but this almost undoes all the success of this year to me, where we were coming into this game in the past 2 weeks with a quarterback we thought could be the future, a defense that we thought could be the best in the NFL, and they completely fell apart. And I don't know how this goes into next season now. I don't know. I'm assuming Sam won't be back, and it's crazy. It's crazy that after the year he had, these 2 games are so bad.
I think he is going to be back.
He might be
Who
back.
wants him after this? He fits better with the Vikings than anyone else. We need a bridge QB. He knows the offense. I said it last week. I thought that if he really screwed the pooch this game, that would guarantee he's going to be back. I fully expect him to return because, like you said, no one's handing him a huge starter deal after this game.
It's just that you look at the team right now. And I think the entire offseason mode, like it's going to come down to the leadership on this team saying, "Hey, like we need to return to the team that we were." And I don't know, the mojo, the vibe of this team, this is teetering right here now. Going into next season, you got to hope. We have a tough schedule too. You don't want to play the schedule game right now, but it's a tough schedule that the NFC North has, especially the Vikings next year. And if things don't change, this is a bad way to enter the offseason. Have the 2 worst games, 2 of the worst Viking games of my life in this season, where we were 14-2. Like, I don't know what that does to the offseason.
Yeah, and like you say, I mean, it's not losing the games that's so bad. Losing to the Lions in particular, I understand losing that game. You're dogs, you're on the road, you're playing a hot Detroit team. It's a huge game. I get it. It's the way they lost. It's getting absolutely obliterated by Detroit.
And
then getting obliterated again by the Rams. You have to, if you want to be taken seriously, you have to be able to beat this Rams team. I get it. We talked about in our preview, this Rams team has talent on it. They've got Matthew Stafford. Well, guess what? The Rams offense was putrid up until this game. You showed the numbers. We looked at it last week. Matthew Stafford had thrown for 1 touchdown combined in his last 3 games. They weren't going anywhere. But of course, you play the Minnesota Vikings. It's the get-right game of the season, apparently, because it's the playoffs. This defense that terrorized people all the year.
He had done nothing coming into the first game we played him. He threw 4 touchdowns in that game. Ziggy, I sent you guys the picture. The Rams' offense with Stafford the last 3 weeks they played. 12 points against the 49ers. 19 against the Jets. 13 against the Cardinals.
Those aren't world-beater defenses either.
No, they're not. They're bad teams. They're bad teams this year. And again, I don't want to just pin it on the defense. The defense started terribly. Like, it was just the worst possible start that they could have had. And they got bailed out on the second drive because of the penalty. But the offense is what gave the game away. I mean, the offense is what ended the season for us. We can complain all we want.
The Rams had 290 yards this game. No, they were 2 for 9 on third down.
We can complain all we want about the defense having certain meltdowns at different points, but the Detroit game, inside the 5-yard line, a gazillion times, you get 6 points on 4 of those drives. Tonight, the fumble return for a touchdown, interception, multiple turnover on downs. That can't happen in playoff football. And the Lion game was a playoff game. I don't really care. I know it's the end of the regular season, but for all intents and purposes,
that was a playoff environment with a bye on the line. That's a playoff game.
When it mattered most, it's like Avatar. when the world needed Sam Darnold most, when the Vikings fans needed Sam Darnold most, he left us, and it really sucks because it was just such a great year. Like, I don't like why does it have to end this way all the time? I just don't get it.
You know what's so insidious about the way the season ended is it doesn't matter what the Vikings do next year, like what they will in the regular season. I'm not going to believe in this team. They were 14-3 in the regular
welcome
season.
To the show, Ziggy. I mean, welcome to the party.
No. You don't get to say welcome to the show. You were saying all year that this Vikings team was different, that we couldn't, just because it was Sam Darnold, we had to look at that evidence from the season. You tried to be optimistic, Paul.
Yeah, I tried.
And where did optimistic Paul take us?
This is what you get for trying to be optimistic when you root for this freaking shit show of a franchise. It's part of my French. But
yeah, it's white armchair comes in. This makes the Packers' loss sting a little less. I'm glad somebody feels better after this.
I don't care.
You've got Mike Hebring, Packers super fan, coming in. Love the show all year. Thanks to great content. Love knowing what's happening with the Vikings. Like, this is what's so miserable, right? And of course, this Packers team, remember, it's John S. brought this up. The Packers absolutely annihilated this Rams team, right? They crushed them.
Yeah, Puka,
like
Puka and Cup didn't play. I don't care.
I don't care if you put Puka Nacua, Cooper Cup, and Prime Megatron on this team. The Vikings should be able to do better than this. Look, here's the thing. This just feels like, I know we've got Packers fans in the audience here. I might feel like I'm pandering to them. But this is just like, this is typical Vikings. We can't outperform teams in our division. Like, feeling this way, it feels like we finished third. As I feel miserable after this game. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it doesn't even feel like we finished third in the division. It's a 14-3 team that went and got embarrassed on the road at, I guess, a neutral field site in the playoffs. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. And
let's just get Aaron Rodgers next year. Sure, White Armchair's right. We should just sign Aaron Rodgers. It can't be worse than this,
dude. I'm not. Look. I don't want to get into all that right now, but you know what? A little bit. I talked about that. Aaron Rodgers.
Isn't that funny? The Vikings are going to score 9 points twice in a row in these games.
If you believe
most important games of the season, they put up 9 points twice.
If you think Aaron Rodgers has one more year in him, the Vikings is a perfect place to go. I know most people don't believe that. I tend to believe that these legends have a little bit more in the tank than they probably do. But if Sam Darnold doesn't come back and you're not quite ready for J.J. McCarthy and Daniel Jones isn't the guy,
Daniel Jones isn't the guy.
I'm intrigued by the thought of Aaron Rodgers for 1 year lacing it up. Let me just say that. Everybody here, all the Packer fans are going to be like, no, you're idiots. But
let's put it to a poll. I don't even have it in me to put in all caps. I'm too crushed. We're going all lowercase.
That's okay. Yeah, look, everyone's saying in the chat that, Vikings fans are talking a lot of smack heading into the final 2 weeks of the season, and it was deserved.
I thought it was deserved. I felt
great.
In the hardest division in the history of football, we were 14-2.
But it's my fault for believing, and I do it all the time. You could go back to the 2022 show. Go watch the 2022 season when we beat the Bills, and I finally cracked. I was like, you know what? I believe. What did we move to 8-1 after that game? And that was one of the best games I've ever seen in my life. And it just ended in heartbreak then. And 14-2. 14-2. I mean, that's unbelievable. How many teams?
That's an all-time regular season record for this franchise.
Are 14-2, 14-3. I mean, it's a crazy year, and to have it end with Matthew Stafford picking you apart and the offense just throwing out another goose egg, it's sickening. It's sickening, and I'm not quite sure how optimistic I am about next year. That's what also sucks. When you have Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, you flame out in the playoffs. You go, okay, we have an MVP. I thought we had an MVP candidate, but we don't have that. And I'm not trying to compare Sam to those guys, just in case people go nuts here.
Justin Zarata coming in. It's my fault. When the Packers lost, I decided to cheer for the Vikings. I don't know. What am I supposed to make of this? If the Vikings go 17-0 next year, I'm going to be thinking we're going to lose in the divisional round. Heck, we probably won't even get a bye. Some other team will go 17-0.
We lose in the NFC Championship. That's the way it goes for this team. It's people are saying it's a fluke though, and that bothers me a bit. Like this team didn't get lucky. This team was winning games.
I'm not sure you can get lucky enough to get to 14-3 in the NFL. That's a lot of luck. But when you talk about one possession games, this wasn't like that Giants lost season where they were sort of fighting their way back. Most of our one-score games were teams backdooring their way into a late touchdown to make it a one-score game. Like, the Vikings played extremely well in most of those games. Some of them, like the Jaguars game, I'm not going to excuse.
Yeah.
Like, there were bad games this season. Every team has bad games. The Detroit Lions have had bad games. Like, every team has. But this was not like previous years. They consistently had, by the advanced stats, one of the best offenses and one of the best defenses. It's just, they were just cursed. It's the Minnesota Vikings. They're just cursed. It's that simple.
Yeah.
I don't know why I believe.
Put it on his shirt. They're just cursed. That's kind of who we are. Ziggy, can you throw out a poll just to see who we have in this chat? Can you say what team are you a fan of? Vikings, Lions,
we actually
Packers,
ended up
others.
going 55-45 in favor of bringing in Aaron Rodgers.
Well, I don't know if that's That might be because we have a lot of anti-Viking people in this chat.
No, I think those people are being genuine.
Midwest Mountain Man says one must imagine. What? I don't even know.
You never heard that phrase? One must imagine Sisyphus happy.
No, I haven't.
So in Greek mythology,
no,
this is
Ziggy,
the Minnesota
Lions, Vikings, Packers, Lions. Other.
Nobody cares about that.
No. I want to see how many Lions fans we have in here. That's the whole point.
Fine. Okay.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Continue.
You're good. So there's this guy Sisyphus, and here's what the Greek gods condemn him to do. He gets this giant boulder.
Oh, that's Sisyphus. Okay, yeah.
He's got to. No, I'm going to tell the story. It's maybe not everybody in the chat knows. What is his job? He has to roll it up the hill, and he has to roll it up. And when he gets to the top, or right before he gets to the top, it rolls back down. And he has to do it all over again. He can never succeed. That's the Vikings. Now we've done some great boulder rolling. We made it to the Super Bowl.
Playoff
4 years in
record,
a row.
9 sacks, Ziggy. Playoff record. I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah, sure. Typical, of course. But we've done that a whole bunch. And what happens every time you start to get to the top? I didn't think the Vikings were in Super Bowl. I didn't think that this was like our year to win it all. But is one playoff game too much to ask? A single win in the wild card round against the 4 seed? Is that too much to ask? Oh, there's a lot of Lions fans in here. You're right. There's Lions fans coming in here just to watch us.
One of them includes John Jakubowski, good friend, down from Florida. We met, big Lions fan. He started watching after we lost to the Lions in week 7, I think it was.
We've got VX
Great
Open
guy.
coming in here with a super chat. As a Packers fan, football is all pain unless you're a bandwagon. No. I'm sorry. No. I appreciate the donation, but what are you talking about?
Thank you. And all the Lions fans agree here, too.
You've had back-to-back Hall of Fame quarterbacks. You've got a young rising star. No, it's not all pain. It's all pain for us.
Yeah.
You guys I get that you've had some bad playoff losses.
We can whine. You can't. No, look. The Packers have had some, I mean, to be fair, Green Bay has had a miserable run of playoff football. But guys, you won a Super Bowl. I mean, you've won.
You've had one.
You've seen the
You've had
mountaintop.
2 in your lifetime, probably.
I've never been to a Super Bowl. Here's where it is. There's the 2 camps. We've gone over this before. There's 2 camps. There's the Heartbreak camp and there's the numbness camp. The Lions, the Browns, the Jaguars. I mean, they're the worst of the worst franchises are the mind-numbing misery. Then there's the Vikings, the Bills, the teams that get there, that make you believe and then break your heart. The heartbreak hurts worse. The mind-numbing pain is a worse existence. I'll acknowledge that, okay? I would rather be the Vikings than the Browns. The ups are fun. But when you're a Viking fan, when you're a Bills fan, you have moments that just crush your soul.
Like 13 seconds. I'm like, no Browns fan has ever experienced something.
No, they don't know.
That.
They don't know. They don't understand. And I don't understand the mind-numbingness. Because if we sucked, if we had 5 wins, like the Commanders up until now, Commanders the past 20 years have been mind-numbingly bad. 5 wins,
the
4
Dolphins,
wins, 9
if you were
wins,
born
8
like 40 years ago.
Yes. The Dolphins. Kind of nuts
The
that
Raiders.
the Dolphins are in there. The Raiders. Well, the Raiders had a few, but...
No, but in recent time, like if you were born after that Super Bowl.
That sucks. I don't even want to do that. Why even root for your team? But this just is like getting slapped in the face over and over again. And it hurts. As a fan, it hurts. Again, the grand scheme of this, I am well aware it's just a football game. All right. I will wake up tomorrow and be this is when you know that I'm actually upset as a Viking fan, is when I go whenever you're talking to any friend who's a fan of a team and they go, look, in the grand scheme of it, it's like, then you're like, all right, they've given up. Like, they're really sad here. But it's a football game. We'll be okay. I'm talking
we'll get to
from
a couple of these super chats here.
Let me just finish here. I'm talking about my inner football fan here, how he feels. So I understand there are bigger issues than this game. But as a football fan, I mean, this sucks. I don't even want to see Stafford on the screen. It's very upsetting. Go ahead, hit the super chats. I'm sorry.
Azar 0121 coming in here. The Packers and Vikings situations feel eerily similar, just not showing up, going into the wild card of a loss, not getting it together. The difference, I think, is the Packers had been sliding for a while. Like, they had ups, they had downs this season. For the Vikings, it was basically all ups until that Lions game. The Lions game we lost earlier in the season, whatever you set it aside, the Rams loss was a weird aberration coming off that game. They looked great all season. I think that's really the difference. Is this feels almost, it's just terrible.
Like we were 14-4 on the season, and we lost to 2 teams the same exact way. It was just like I don't know. You can't really make it up. And I mean, look at Jefferson walking off the field. Justin, that whole game, you're looking at his eyes, you're looking at his eyebrows. They're furrowed. They're like he's pissed off the whole time. Like what can we do? You know, we have the best receiver in the league. Doesn't do anything in this game. We can't throw him the football. It happens every single time. Every single time. Yes, I am going to cope. All right, leave me alone. From Byrne, he says, Lions had an extremely specific curse, and even then we still had the Pistons, Tigers, Red Wings. I've seen them all in championships and win. I have no idea what Minnesota did to be so cursed. Yeah, Minnesota, look, I'm from New Jersey. Ziggy, as he says, is from all over the place, but primarily California. The Minnesota curse is absurd. Thank God. Look, as a sports fan, I really haven't seen too much. I mean, I am lucky to be a Yankee fan, but the football is king for me. I'm seeing my first championship ever with the Notre Dame championship on Monday. I'm sure that'll
I wonder how that's going to go.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to go over well. But it's the first time in my life that I've even experienced what a championship game feels like. And I don't know what Minnesota did. It's miserable. It's bad every single week. The Lions curse as well.
Coming in,
I'm not
Ziggy. Maybe taking your shirt off will ease the pain.
No. Well, you know, maybe you got the links at least from A. The links are good. I always liked watching Maya Moore as a kid with UConn. The Lions curse. We've talked about this a lot. I don't think that's broken. Now look, now that we're out, I don't give a crap anymore. Like I just don't care.
Lions can win, Lions can lose. Yeah,
I'd rather not see the Lions win just because it's another one of those teams that's seeing it like they win before us. You know, I was rooting. I felt good about the Cubs. This is how sick I am, Ziggy. This is how twisted of a sports fan I am. I was cheering on for the Cubs in 2016 because I was like, you know what, like let them have something nice. And the moment the ball hit Anthony Rizzo's glove to win the World Series, I was like, I wish they had lost. Like, this sucks. Because I was like, now we just slide up the rankings of miserable sports franchises. And I actually think that we are the most miserable. Do you see ESPN putting up the graphic? For the love of God, putting up the graphic that said the longest existing team in the MLB, NFL, NBA, or NHL to not win a championship? Why? Why does that need to be on screen? There's no reason for that.
They hate us.
There's no reason for that. Louis Portillo says, sorry, guys, Pats fan, longtime listener. Oh, Pats fan. I didn't know we had Patriots fans. Darnold just cracked under pressure. Yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened. He cracked under pressure, and I don't know where it came from. Because there's nothing to make me believe. Guys, 2 weeks ago.
Because Sam Darnold. That's why it's his first time in a big game.
2 weeks ago, in the locker room, he's on the shoulders of the entire team with champagne running, or water running down his face. And it's on the Instagram page. It's our new Twitter profile picture. It was perfect. And then it all fell apart. Mysteriously. Like I don't know. I don't know how it went. If it had been a gradual process of Sam crumbling, like the Jaguars game we had mid-season, if that had started a waterfall, like an avalanche effect of Sam just playing bad football, and you had some good moments combined with some bad moments, then it makes sense at least. You're like, okay, he came back down from earth after week 6. But it wasn't like that. In the Falcon game, the dude looked like freaking Tom Brady. And in the Packer game, midway through the game, we're looking at each other on our live stream. We're going, this guy can win MVP. He can be in the conversation for MVP. And it just the drop off, unfathomable. Only us. I don't know. Did we have another super chat? Did I miss that? No, we're okay.
We've got a few of them queued up here, so we're going to get through them. This chat's blowing up like crazy. If I actually knew how to put on slow mode, I'd go do it. But we've got one from.
If you throw in the open Q&A for people, would you mind throwing that in there?
Yeah, sure. It's going to get flooded. But here's one from Evan Siegel. This stinks now, trust me. But if you can be optimistic for the Packers, you have to be optimistic for the Vikings. Thank you, Paul Farrington Show. Again, I'm not trying to be mean, but I do not have to be optimistic for the Vikings. We are not the same. You guys have Jordan Love. And say what you will about Jordan Love. I get that he's had some problems. I get that he's not there yet. Who do you have more faith? You've seen 2 seasons of Jordan Love and 1 season of Sam Darnold. Who do you have more faith in? Jordan Love or Sam Darnold to get it done at some point in their career? Or you could throw in JJ McCarthy too. Easy answer. Easy answer.
All right, let's hit some. We got a bunch of super chats coming in here. Do you want to read through these, or you want me to take these?
Yeah, I'll get a couple of them. Sorry, I was just putting out the Q&A. We'll try and get to those when we can. We've got a huge super chat from Master Witty Roadster. Hey guys, Packers fan here. I know how tough this loss feels. Been there too. Let's hope both our teams come back stronger next year. Props to you for sticking with your team through it all. Respect from a rival fan.
Appreciate that,
we appreciate
Master
that.
Roaster Smith. That's a lot of money. You don't have to do that, but we appreciate that. And it was a fun year. Like, we had a fun year. It's just I don't get it. I don't know how this happens. All right, what we got here?
We got John Klebman. Packers were the injury coaster. Still feel optimistic. Vikings clearly have the pieces. If the Bears get a coach, could be jockeying for third.
Yeah, it's
but
crazy.
Here's the thing: like at least the Packers have the injury excuse. At least they've got that. This Vikings team, I mean, I get that Darisaw was out and would have made some difference, but this was not an injury problem. This wasn't a left tackle problem.
No,
we just weren't good enough.
You know, the teams that the Packers are one of the, they're one of the teams that I follow, given the fan base we have on the show. You had the Packers, the Vikings, like Notre Dame. Those are football teams that I'm watching the most. Notre Dame, injury riddled. Amazing that they're even in the championship. The Packers, injury riddled, fell apart against the Eagles. The Vikings were healthy. That was the one thing. Like, to have these kind of magical seasons, you generally need to have, a lot of talent, obviously, but you need some luck in there too. And a lot of that luck comes on the injury front. If you just, like, the 49ers have had so many seasons now where they're just crushed by injuries. And, we didn't have that. And that's what sucks is like we were healthy. We were 14-3 and we were talented. And it just turned into a nightmare. Okay, a couple more. Dragon School, what? If you want to root for a Minnesota team, cheer for the women. WNBA and women's pro hockey. The men are cursed. Yeah, totally right. I mean, you were completely right. I have a soft spot for every other Minnesota team just because I know what it feels like to root for one. I cannot imagine being a Twins, Timberwolves, Wild fan. Good God, man. Brutal. Austin Clay. Packer fan here. As much as I love Aaron, y'all need a running back. The run game has been non-existent for the past couple games. Totally agree with you. I love Aaron Jones. I hope he comes back next year, but we need... Look, this is obvious, but I want a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs. I want someone who, when he gets the ball in his hands, can turn any play into a touchdown.
That's not what I want. I want a quarterback that doesn't set the NFL record for sacks in the playoffs. The run game is not the fundamental problem.
No, it's not the fundamental problem, but I do want, he's right. Austin's right when he says that the run game has been pretty bad for the Vikings. Cam Akers has been the biggest spark. I want weapons everywhere. And the running back position's one of them. But you're right. I mean, you're right, Ziggy. What do you want me to say here?
Hey, can you believe the Vikings? No, it hit me that the Vikings lost this game in the way they did. And I felt it all over.
The season's over. The season's over.
I thought this might be a dream world.
No,
it's over.
The season's over. And it sucks. 14 wins. And to end it like that is just sickening.
You have nothing to show.
Did I miss? I think I may have missed a...
We've got to miss a couple. Zader74 comes in.
I missed
Y'all
one.
treated sweeping the Packers like winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, we did. I mean, we did. It was awesome. I feel like a few of the super chats are fading to or going away.
Yeah, well, no, I've got it. I've got the thing pulled up. Vagabond came in. Sorry for your loss. Last night sucked, but tonight brought me joy. Better luck next year, Purple Devil worshippers. You can wish us all the luck you want. There's so much bad luck on the other side. It doesn't matter. This team's cursed. Then we've got a big one from Josh Hilla here. Just a thanks from a Packers fan. I'm a little shocked, though I did think the Rams defensive line could be a difference maker. Love the content. Appreciate it. I'll say it's the Rams defensive line. I think I said they could be a difference maker in the preview, too. There's a lot of young players on it. We talked about it, and they don't get enough credit. They played well. Don't get me wrong. This was a Sam Darnold not getting rid of the ball problem more than it was a Rams defensive line problem. This is him not picking up corner blitzes. You saw that a couple of times. This is him running around for 10 seconds just to curl up and get sacked. This fundamentally was a Sam Darnold refuses to throw the ball away problem.
Yeah. Did we have John S. in there? We had John S., I think, said great season. And did we have one more, Ziggy, after the comment? right around the comment about the running backs. I thought there was one more that I missed right after that. If you can, I don't know if you.
We got one from Shankar Nigon. Does this loss give more clarity on Darnold versus McCarthy for next season? Go Pack Go.
Yeah, I mean,
it gives clarity that you don't hand Sam Darnold the giant deal.
Yeah, you can't hand Sam a massive deal after this. It sucks. I was rooting for him, but in some ways, maybe it's not good because people are saying like he saved a lot of money. Like, no, I would have given him the money easily if he had come and beaten the Lions or convincingly beat the Rams and went down to the wire with Philly. Like, I was willing to give Sam a lot of money. I didn't want to give him $50 million, but now it's like I don't even know what you offer Sam. Like, do you know how much money he lost in the past 8 days? It's an unbelievable collapse. I was talking to my boss, big Vikings fan. He was like, this is a LeBron Mavericks level collapse. It's like, yeah, you're kind of right. Like, it's brutal. We have a couple more super chats, don't we, here from the Exopen. I'm just going to go the best I can here. Big fan of the show. I'm 19, so only really have seen playoff pain for the Packers, but I understand Vikings have it worse. Also Pirates fan, so I know pain. Yeah, Jack's a Pirate fan. He would totally gets where you're coming from, man. Yeah, 19. Oh, geez. What the hell is 19? 2005? Good Lord, man. Nah, it's starting to feel a little bit older, too. 19. You was born 2005. So, yeah, I guess your Super Bowl year, you were what, like 6-ish? And that's too early to really appreciate the run. Yeah, all you've known is pain. Welcome to the club, man. I mean, yeah, I'm the ringleader. Actually, I'm not. I mean, maybe my dad is.
We got a super chat from Matt D. Domenico there. Did you see what happened to Bazarowski yesterday? Yeah. Did you see that, Paul?
Yeah, I saw the video.
We warned him not to go to that
We told him not to go. Eagles fans
it's not that excuses it. That was absolutely terrible, and everybody knows the Eagles fans are the worst. Just
Eagles fans, and you know what? I do want to say, like, Eagles fans. I know a lot of Eagles fans, are really good people, really fun people.
Maybe it's that stadium,
but there are, when you talk about like the fans that are just mean and are just bad. Like the Eagles have probably the largest collection of those fans.
They're certainly the most tolerated.
Yeah, it's insane. I have no. If the Vikings had won, people are like, "Oh, you got to go to Philly." I was like, "I'm not going. I don't want to go there. It's miserable." And maybe
if your team wins, you might get beat up.
Great home field advantage. Oh, if you win your jersey, you're gonna have stuff thrown on you. Like, again, a lot of Eagles fans I like, and this is not an indictment on every Eagles fan, but that stadium is not a fun place to go for. Foxboy72006 says, Lions fan here. We are injured and still won. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing what the Lions are doing given all the injuries.
That's what a real team can do. The Lions are not frauds.
Yeah. Zach Hildebrand says, who wins in a fight, Sam Darnold or shirtless Ziggy? Probably shirtless Ziggy, honestly. I can't
Well, it depends. Sam Darnold wins if it's not an important fight, but if it's like a UFC, Sam Darnold just chokes and takes a sack.
Come on, we're trying to be nice. It's
no, look, it's
no one.
You got to let me have tonight.
No one feels worse than Sam Darnold. And
no, Sam Darnold's not a bad guy, but also this was an unbelievable performance for him.
No, this was the first half. We should have gone live at halftime because my God, I was pissed off. I was pissed in the first half, and the shock. Do you know how rare it is to have games, Ziggy, where everybody you know is texting you like, wow, your team sucks. Like you're playing so. It was almost like everyone was in shock, not at the Rams blowing out the Vikings, at how bad the Vikings were. That doesn't happen to teams. You don't have announcers coming onto the halftime show just going like, man, it's almost unbelievable how bad Minnesota's been. Joe Buck came on and just said, terrible. No other way to say it. Like that doesn't happen to teams. Not in the playoffs like this. It's. I
can think of one team it happened to just a couple years ago.
Yeah, I guess it does, but happens to us a lot. The Monstar says, I would say Sam deserves a good contract. These past 2 games were the biggest in his career, and it isn't even close. He needs refinement. Lions fan.
It depends on my good contract.
Yeah.
Like, am I handing him a $40-50 million deal? No, but Sam Darnold did show this season he can be a solid NFL quarterback. And it is true. Like, it takes time and it takes experience losing like this to know how to play big games. Like, did Sam Darnold play a single big game at USC? The only one I can think of was when he went to South Bend, and it looked like he was playing to that.
Yeah, that was
right.
ridiculous.
Like they had to bench him in the third quarter.
That was
so bad. You and I were there for that game. We felt
freshman.
very differently about that Sam Darnold.
Yeah, that was great. Kyle Good says, join us Packer fans in loserdom. I love you guys. Sorry I wrote skull like 500 times in the last 5 minutes of the game. No worries, man. It's all fun and games at the end of the day. I was talking with a few people on Twitter, and
you're not Eagles fans.
Not Eagles fans. I was talking with some people on Twitter at the end of the game, and I was like, no, it's all good, man. Like, we're just talking football here. But yeah, I am a little pissed off.
We've got one from John Clevens here. It feels weird to have empathy for Vikings fans. This channel makes me feel uncomfortably less hateful in the division. But still, go Commanders.
Go Commanders.
Of all the teams in the NFC, I'd like to see the Commanders make a run. They're like the Bills, but that's how it goes.
The Rams, I will hold this petty. Like, I'll be petty, but like I hate the Saints because of 2009. I really
the Rams didn't do anything wrong.
No, the Rams did nothing wrong. I mean, that was just us. That was us being us. Cryptic says, Niners fan here. NFC has no definitive QB that you can trust, so Vikings still have time. We're arguing over Purdy here. Yeah. Who do you trust the most in the NFC? Is it Jared Goff? It was Stafford. I mean, you trust Stafford, but maybe Goff right now. Like, it is crazy how the AFC has all of the franchise quarterbacks. The clear cut. You have Lamar, Josh Allen, Mahomes in the divisional round. You'll probably get Burrow back there next year. Like, they're going to be running the show for a long time. And in the NFC, I don't know. Like who's going to go next year? You think the Eagles and Lions will probably be good again, but the Packers could be awesome. The Bucs could be awesome.
The Eagles didn't look that good in the Packers game.
No, that's why it sucks, because I thought if we won, I was thinking to myself, and this is how foolish I am. I'm thinking I'm going to the national championship.
After you break out the McCowan.
After I break out the McCowan, I'm going to the national championship game for Notre Dame on Monday, and I'm thinking about the flight. Like I didn't book my flight down because I was going, let me just confirm the Vikings win and then I'll book my flight. I should have known. Should have booked it a few weeks ago. And now here I am, paying way more than I should for this flight. We have another super chat, I believe, came in.
Stephen Michael Davis, learn to enjoy the ride. A jaded Packers fan, love you boys. I'll say this. This game sucks. This is miserable. We've got 2,500 people here watching our misery, and if they enjoy watching it, you can see plenty more if you click that subscribe button, if you click that like button. But I'll say this. This really was a fun season. I think when we look back on it in a couple of weeks, we'll mostly remember long-term that this was a fun season where the Vikings were expected to be bottom feeders and instead won 14 games.
Oh, no, it was an awesome year, but that's what's so disheartening about it is it was so much fun. And I look back on a few seasons the Vikings have had over the course of my life. 2022, tons of fun. 2009, tons of fun. 2017 was a lot of fun. I don't think it was as fun as those other years, but like it just always ends in this same exact crushing format of devastating loss. And this one, was kind of different. They come in different shapes, sizes, and forms here. Like the 2009 was just shooting ourselves in the foot. Heartbreak. I mean, that was the worst ever. 1998 would have been if I were alive, like basically watching that. But this felt like 2017 a bit, with the Eagles just getting crushed. And it's just so many things. Like, how did we miss that block punt? I don't get it. You go and you watch that.
I've never seen that before. 2 hands directly above the ball and it travels through his arms.
Marshmallow Jesus says, low expectations beginning of the year. Had a legit shot at something special. Exciting young QB back next year. JJ just wins games. Head up, fellas. That's my hope with McCarthy. It's funny when they showed JJ at the end of the Lions game. I was like, oh, God. He looks like a child. He looks like because he is. And that's the guy that's probably going to be taking over. I do think there is, and I do not want this to be a shot at Sam Darnold. This is not what I mean. I do think that there are like born winners in sports sometimes, like guys who just win games. Like Tom Brady was like that. He just wins. Mahomes is like that. He will win the game if you give him the chance. I don't know if JJ McCarthy is that. At Michigan, he was. He didn't really have too many opportunities to prove it in big games.
But when he did,
he won. So again, not a shot at Sam. Winning in the NFL is really hard. That's my hope for JJ McCarthy. I thought Sam was great all year. It's just unfortunate that he had 2 really, really bad games and when it counted.
I want to get to a couple of the questions in our Q&A, and then we'll get back to the super chats.
Okay.
We've got one from honorary member, maybe our longest running Vikings fan, Merle. What's stopping us from becoming Chiefs fans? Integrity?
Honesty?
Yeah. a love of the pain. Deep down, we're actually enjoying this.
That could be it. That could be it. No, it's
Like becoming a Chiefs fan, just the Chiefs would then acquire a curse. That's what would happen.
Merle. I mean, think about it. Like people who have a job that they love, they can go and make more money if they want to somewhere else. You can always do that. You're dating your girlfriend. There might be prettier girls out there that you could go date, but
maybe for you,
maybe for you. No, yeah. Like at the end of the day, this is the team we chose. This is the fate that we have. We're attached to them at the hip. It's like a marriage, for better, for worse, sickness and health, good times and bad. This is who we've chosen. And maybe it was an unfortunate choice that we got tied to the hip here, but we're Vikings fans. That's who we are. We will live and die with the team. When they are good, we'll support them. When they're bad, we'll support them. Of course, we can complain a little bit. That's part of being a fan, but we're never leaving. You can't.
We've got a question from Michael Merrill. What do you think is the biggest need for the Vikings next year, and should Sam Darnold stay? A quarterback that doesn't set an NFL postseason record for sacks.
You are relentless tonight, my friend.
I mean, we need that. We need a guy who's not going to take 8 sacks in the postseason. But no, I still think the biggest thing the Vikings need is a reliable quarterback in big games.
Well, yeah, I mean that is the thing. We need more cornerback help. We need a third receiver. Interior line, I'd still like to bolster up a bit. I mean, there's a lot of needs you have, but like the biggest one is, yes, you do need to lock down the quarterback position. I also would like to. We need some cornerbacks. Byron Murphy had a great year. Stephon Gilmore was kind of fading towards the end of the year. When you have a secondary that can lock people up, it's game changing. Go ahead, Ziggy. Do we have some more questions?
Yeah, we've got a couple more questions here, and then we'll get back to the super chats. One's from Wiggly Joker. Hey, Paul Farrington Show. What are your thoughts on the nasty schedule for the NFC North next year? How seriously do you think it will impact the playoff aspirations for our wild cards? I'll tell you this. I thought it was very fortunate. Like, the Vikings played great. It was lucky we won 14 games next year. This year, we ain't winning 14 next year.
No, tough schedule. Schedule. What we have, NFC East and AFC North.
Yeah.
Those are a lot of good teams, especially with Dak coming back.
And you still have to play 6 games in the NFC North, which I think will be even better next year.
Yeah, well, that's part of what makes it so upsetting, Ziggy. That's part of what makes it so upsetting is that the NFL, it's a little different from like the NBA, where you could kind of pick out what teams are going to be competing for the finals. Right now, it's Celtics, Thunder, Cavaliers. Like, you have an idea of the teams that are going to be really good. And the Celtics are going to be really good next year. The Thunder are going to be really good next year. In the NFL, it's lightning in a bottle kind of seasons. Like, that happens all the time. The Eagles won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. They didn't make they faded out of the playoffs immediately last year. Like, the 49ers were in the Super Bowl, completely missed. The injury bug hits. Like, there are so many different factors in the NFL, and teams can have great seasons and then miss the playoffs completely. And when you're 14-3, you can't waste it. That's what makes it hurt. There's nothing given in football. And part of that can be schedule luck and injury luck. But when you go 14-3 and you have the schedule the Vikings have next year, it's like, all right, like, come on, let's do something with what we have now. And that's why flopping the way they did against the Lions and the Rams. Who knows when you're going to be back? You never know. The Bengals were in the Super Bowl with Burrow. Everyone thought, they'll get back there. Haven't been back to Super Bowl. Haven't been into the AFC Championship game a couple seasons now. The Bills, 13-second game. That was probably the best chance they've had so far. Like, you can lose all the time. It's one game and you're done. Viexopen, I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing that name. I watched the Packer game with my roommate who's from Philly. Can we appreciate how NFC fans are all better than Philly fans? Go Pack, go. Love you guys. I don't
know. There's those Bears fans. Have you ever talked to them?
Yeah, I love all the NFC North fans.
Kidding, Weston,
I really
if you're in the audience.
The Eagles fans are tough, though, man. Isn't it kind of funny, too, how the NFC North, all year, we're talking of how great this division is. Total fails in the first round for the Packers and the Vikings. Both teams, from the get-go, did not show up. And I don't think that means the division was worse than we said they were. I just think they weren't ready for the biggest moment. One dull geek says, I don't think you'll look back on this season being fun. In 2011, Packers went 15-1, and all I remember is getting destroyed in the playoffs. Well, you have to remember,
I think the difference,
yes,
the big difference there is the Packers went into that season as one of the Super Bowl favorites, right? They were second in Super Bowl odds. Their win total was 11 and a half games. Like, they were expected to do really well. And then you do great in the regular season. You think this is our year, then you get bounced. That really sucks. This Vikings team was like in the 20s in Super Bowl odds. The win total was 6.5. Nobody expected anything from this team. I had this team winning 4 games in the preseason predictions, maybe 5 games, maybe 3 games. I was very bad on this team. So to go from like no expectations whatsoever to win a bunch of games, that's fun. Because look, this was a house money game. The Vikings were lucky to make the playoffs, given preseason expectations. So while it sucks now, given everything we saw, like that stuff happens, it's very different, I think, than the 2011 Packers season.
Yeah, and you know what? I feel like a lot of Packers seasons, you're right, Ziggy, the expectations were so high for those teams. And when they failed, it felt like when they lost, it felt like failure. You know, it felt like we're wasting time with Rodgers here. And you kind of were. With the Vikings' big seasons lately, like look at our last 3 great seasons, like 12+ win seasons. 2017 with Case Keenum, magical run. Like they all ended horribly. But that's a fun run when you have a guy like Case Keenum leading the team. Just a likable guy, an overachieving roster, underdog mentality. 2022, you had the spectacular comebacks with Kirk Cousins, KOC's first year. Like that was just fun football. It was great to be a Viking fan. And this year, like rooting on Sam Darnold was awesome. It was a lot of fun seeing this guy go from just made fun of by everybody to an MVP candidate. Like that was fun. And I will look back on this year fondly. But right now I'm thinking of how come we could not hang in there with Detroit or LA? What went wrong? I'm not sure what it is. A couple more quick things I'll run through here, Ziggy. Dr. Jacob, fan for 53 years. This one took the wind out of my sails. Yeah, my dad is in his early 60s, and he's seen some bad games. He saw the Hail Mary against Dallas. He saw, I think it was 86 or 87 against the then Redskins. 1998. Doesn't get easier.
We've got a big super chat, a couple big ones to get to here. One's from Vex. Hey, NFC North misery, buddy. Packers fans checking in. Vikings were brutal.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal.
It's terrible. Like, it's endless misery is an appropriate title for this. It's not clickbait. Jared Bruschi said it a while ago, no takeaways, no run game, no win. Yeah, it's if you can't keep the ball, if your quarterback gets sacked a bunch and you can't do the same to the other side, you're just giving away free possessions. You have no chance of winning.
I mean, Ziggy, we were down 10-3, ball at midfield. Like, it felt like the entire game the Vikings would get between the 2 40-yard lines, and then something horrible would happen. Whether it be a sack, interception, fumble, but we had the interception on that, the drive at 10-3. Next drive, fumble. Are you all right over there?
Can you believe we lost this game the way we did?
No, I really can't.
Like it's
really
coming
can't.
in waves, right? Like, I get into the show, we start reading the chats. I like our fans, and then it hits me what happened, and I'm just, you know what it's like? It's like when grandma dies and you're at the funeral, and like you're seeing all this, like your family members you like, you're sort of having a good time, you're eating some good food. Then you look over, and like there's grandma's casket right there. And it's just like it hits you, grandma's dead.
Oh my God.
Guess what, folks? The season's dead.
Dude.
It's over. We just rolled over, right? It's
dark.
like Sam Darnold just went into the grave. The Viking season is rest in peace. Like, that's what this feels like.
Oh my God.
David Coombe coming in with a super chat. Thanks for a great season of honest football feedback. Appreciate the talk to every game. We appreciate you too, David. And then Elric JP coming in. I'm a Lions fan, but you guys have been awesome this year. I don't want to feel bad for you guys, but I do hope everything gets better for you both. At least Sam Darnold made the decision easier. Again, I think that because of this game, Sam Darnold's going to be coming back. That's really my belief.
Adrian
Just
Lynch,
because who wants him now?
Packer fan here. Teams in NFC North celebrate a win over the Packers as if they won the Super Bowl. Vikings hoist up players, Lions players wearing I hate Green Bay sweaters. Does that mentality hold these teams back from winning a Super Bowl?
To be fair, the Packers, Packers players wrote, "I hate Detroit" sweaters too.
Yeah, I think that's just look, that Viking Packer
It's a
game was
rivalry.
huge. It's a rival, yeah, big rivalry
Does
game.
it hold the Steelers and Ravens back that they hate each other?
Like
No.
I didn't think I wasn't reacting to the Packer game like we won the Super Bowl. I was reacting to the Packer game like, holy crap, we have a shot to win the Super Bowl. It wasn't the season's over. Like I'm content. It was, wow, I actually believe, and that's because the Packers are a good team, and you should celebrate. Jacob Underhill, one of us. Welcome to the postseason. Hell, hashtag Go Pack Go. Yeah, dude. Can't take much more of the postseason hell. Our friend Will Coots, our good pal Will Coots, my old roommate.
Maybe he's watching right now. So shout out Will Coots.
Yeah, shout out Will, old host of the show. Back when we were at Notre Dame. Will was saying that the Vikings over the past decade, really the past decade and 2 decades, have had momentary glory seasons. And he's right in that we do have these breakout years where eventually the magic runs out. I don't want to call it luck. That's what Will called it. I'm calling it magic. And magic can run out. And for the Vikings, a cursed team, yeah, magic does run out. The way to break that is you need to get the guy. And it's hard to get the guy. The Vikings have been looking for the guy since Fran Tarkenton. Unless you count Dante. But that didn't last very long. All right, a couple more super chats here. I want to make sure we get all these.
Yeah, I've got them all pulled up here. We've got one from Jared Brewski. I still think the NFC North is tough, and we cannibalized each other going to playoffs. Even the Bears played hard. Rams and Eagles rested. I think that might be some of it, but both of those were just team implosion performances. I don't think it was that they played really hard games the week before.
Yeah.
Though the Packers, the injuries they acquired in that game, particularly Christian Watson, definitely held up. This was just, there's no excusing this. You can't say it was a tough division. You can't say, this was just a disaster.
Dude, Ziggy, I said it when the Rams sat their starters. I was like, hey, they're not afraid of the Vikings. No, I wasn't celebrating. I was a little worried about that. But they weren't afraid of the Vikings because you were taking on the 4 seed. And that meant you were getting Detroit or Minnesota. And I thought in some ways that could come back to bite them. And that the Vikings could use that as motivation. If I was Kevin O'Connell, I'm walking in that locker room looking at everyone and I'm saying, hey, this team is saying that they're not afraid of you. This team is saying they might even rather face you than face the Commanders. And you know what? Maybe they were right. Commanders are in the divisional round. We're going home. From David Coombe.
Another big one.
Another $50. It's really, really nice of you. Will we see you boys at the draft in Lambeau?
We've been looking into logistics, so we can't commit to going yet. We'll have to see if it makes sense. It's near the end of the semester for me, but we have been looking into it.
I'm going to try and make it happen for us.
We're contacting to see if there's any chance we can get media credentials.
Yeah, if we can get credentials. But
we are seriously investigating it.
Yes, and if anyone has fun ideas for Lambeau, what we could do for the draft, things that they think people would like. Ziggy, can you throw out a little chat if we did like a meet and greet at a bar, would people come in Lambeau Field? Maybe throw out that in a poll.
People aren't going to be honest. Everyone's going to say yes.
Ruby, $10. Thank you. That's very nice of you. Proud Packer owner here, boys. Keep your head up, brothers. Love watching your show. Looking forward to your off-season content. Appreciate that a lot. It's a lot of fun doing the show, and we're having a great time. It's too bad that we're really excited for a NFC North run. Look, I was hoping the Packers would go on a little run. I wanted to see Vikings, Packers, Lions playing each other in the playoffs. Unfortunately, we didn't get to that, but we're going to have a great offseason. I mean, we still have a lot more playoff content. There's only the first round. Traffic shuffle. Does it hurt more that this was played at a neutral site? Not really. I know there were a lot of Vikings fans, but they played
SoFi is always a neutral site.
SoFi, I was expecting that SoFi. And even if it would look, even no matter where they played, if this was the performance you got, if they were in Philly, if they were in Detroit again, they're in Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore, I don't care. If you came out and played the way they played tonight, I would have been disappointed no matter what. There's a difference between getting your ass kicked and showing up, playing a hard-fought game and losing. And we got our ass kicked. That's where I go, why were we not ready? Like, where did we go wrong in preparation for this? Because we played this team before, and we got marched up and down the field on them. They said the Rams I think they had the fewest points scored in the NFL in the first quarter this year. And against the Vikings, scored on their first 2 drives the first time. They played in week 8. scored on the first two drives this time. Like, this offense had been really bad the last 3 starts with Matthew Stafford, and they looked amazing tonight. My brother at one point looks over at me and he's like, hey, what are they averaging, like 9 yards a play? It felt like that. Every time Stafford dropped back, it was something wide open. It's difficult. NMH, I haven't even read the comment. I just like the start of it. Lions fan, but I actually like these guys, LOL. I wish they were Lions fans. That's very nice. Yeah, I actually had no idea what your comment was before I read that. We'll cover the Lions a lot down the stretch here. So it's great that we have some more Lions fans coming into the show. I'm looking forward to talking about them. But what are you laughing at?
OP Ivy Punk asked a question. Can we have a Paul Farrington show shirt? It's like when Grandma died.
That was an insane reference, Ziggy.
I mean it. I remember my grandmother's funeral when I was like 8 years old. That's exactly what it was like.
Yeah, I think it might be more like you're like the great aunts, like when it's. I don't even. I'm sorry. I don't want to get into this conversation. The funeral for a family member, it always sucks.
I didn't say it doesn't suck. Let me tell you, this game sucked.
On the bright side for you guys, at least you didn't give Sam Darnold untold millions from IND Keith. Yeah, like that would have been. But here's the thing, guys: is we only would have given him that money if it was warranted. And it's like yeah, now we're not going to give him money, but we would have given him money if we went on a playoff run. So it's like I understand the thought process of, oh yeah, he was hiding this the whole time, but if he had played the way we expected to, I would have gladly handed it to him and not expected him to fold, because we would have already had, have seen him play great in big games. It's a jeez. Vikings have 3 picks.
It just sucks. What are we supposed to say?
Yeah, it was difficult. Look, great season again. We'll go over it one more time. It was a great season, a lot of fun, but a disappointing ending. And now, the Rams are going to go into Philadelphia, and that's not a game that the Eagles are like. That's a tough game for the Eagles. Matthew Stafford in the playoffs is the real deal. That's why I was nervous coming into this game, confident, but I wasn't cocky about it. Like, if you gunned to my head, I probably would pick the Vikings, but I had an uneasy feeling because the Rams. I mean, they show up. McVay's a Super Bowl champion. David Coombe again. I mean, really appreciate you, but it's okay. You could slow down with the donations. Find a way to get to the draft. Packers fan that relocated to Arizona for work here. I'll be there with my son. We are big fans. No, that's awesome. Yeah, like again, we're gonna try and get there, and then that's awesome, David, that you're going. I haven't been to the draft. Always wanted to go, especially when it was in Radio City.
It's funny that the NFL has managed to make the draft into like an event. Like, nothing happens during the draft.
Oh, no, I disagree. I think the draft is awesome. I love the draft. I love getting the draft. My dad and I, we call it the draft Bible. I love getting the draft Bible and reading over all the players, getting psyched up. Like, when I was a kid, we used to go to Florida. We'd go to Jupiter, Florida, and that's where my grandma lived. We'd go there on spring break, and it'd be right before the draft, sometimes during. I'd bring the book. We'd drive down, reading it the whole time, trying to find the players. Like, I fell in love with Percy Harvin when he was at Florida, and the Vikings picked it. Like, it was just, I love the draft. There's a special feeling to the draft. Benjamin Martinez, at least we are both Notre Dame fans. Hey, we still have that going for us for another week.
A couple of days.
For another week.
We just had Lions Syndicate come in here. It's been a big-time Lions channel that's been following our pain this season, and he said, Paul, that you were expecting this, that you were ready for this, that you were anticipating this. Is that true? Were you mentally ready for what we saw today?
I think as a Viking fan, you're always ready for a game like this. Like, you're always thinking that this is a possibility, but when it hits you in the face, you never really remember just how miserable it is during it. Like this was all time tonight. I've seen really bad Viking performances. I mean, countless. I was in the Martins in Indiana when I was doing my 5th year out in Notre Dame. I was in the Martins grocery store watching us blow a game to the Lions. And I just was standing there watching, disgusted. My eyes were bleeding watching the game.
That wasn't this year's Lions.
No, it wasn't this year's Lions. Like, I've seen countless games where I've gone to bed. I've gone to, I've turned the TV off. That's horrible. I've seen Notre Dame games like that where I just go like, you know what? I'm done watching this. Like, this was miserable tonight. This is worse than like 99% of the games I watch. And you always forget just how bad that the Vikings can be. Like, they whenever you feel like it could be bad, they always have another level to it. That makes you feel miserable. Red Rabbit, 1963 says, Commanders shocked the world, beat the Lions. NFC North is entirely one and done in the playoffs. Book it. It's a hell of a prediction, man.
That'd be hilarious.
I think the Lions just have this, again, I said it all year. Whenever the Vikings have had amazing seasons, like storybook seasons, 09, 2017, this year, where it feels like they could actually win a Super Bowl, 2022, I didn't feel that way. There's always that one team that's a little bit better. 09, it was the Saints. 2017, it was the Eagles. This year was the Lions. Saints won the
I was
Super
going
Bowl.
to say, Paul, as you're talking about considering going to the draft, we just got 200 people in this chat saying they'd meet us at Lambeau for the draft, and another like 50 that said maybe. I'm not sure I believe all 200 of those, but that does move the needle.
Yeah, I'd love to go.
That really does move the needle.
I'd love to go. Yeah, I'm going to hopefully we'll be there. Just finishing that thought, though, the Saints won the Super Bowl in 09. The Eagles won the Super Bowl in 2017. And the Lions, I think, are on track to at least get to the Super Bowl this year. And you know what the difference is, Ziggy? You know what the different thing about those teams versus the Vikings is that they had this almost inevitable feeling that they were going to win at times. Now, the Eagles, of course, the Eagles was a weird story because Wentz getting hurt. Like I'm mostly talking pre-Wentz injury. Then Foles had magic. But that Saints team, this Lions team, like no matter what happened, you're just in the back of your mind like, oh, they keep finding ways to stay ahead of us. Like it almost feels like destiny. Now, of course, it was destiny for Sean Payton, who was paying players to injure other people's players, and Kevin James displayed him in the movie about Sean Payton. You know what? Real quickly, I cannot believe that there's a Sean Payton movie out there where they have jolly Kevin James playing him, making him look like a hero. It's like, oh, he's taking some time off from the NFL and he's going to be with his son and coach his son's team to a championship. Like, I'm watching the movie and I'm just sick to my stomach.
Hey, why did he take a year off from the NFL?
Yeah.
Does anybody remember?
Yeah, I'm watching the movie with my dad, and it's a fun movie, but I'm like Sean Payton was suspended for paying players to hurt other players, and we're watching a movie about him making him look like a Disney character. That was ridiculous. A says Packers had 17 players on IR in 2010. It's very possible for Lions to win the Super Bowl this year. Yeah, because they have. This is gonna sound so dumb. They have the heart of a lion. It's like they really do. They really do this year. Like whenever you watch them play, that team, they will not be denied. And I think that whether or not you like Dan Campbell, the heart that team has is a reflection of him and the mentality that he's instilled in this Lions organization. Brad Holmes, Colin Cowherd, my boss, says Brad Holmes is the star of that team. He's the one who orchestrated all this. But Dan Campbell is the engine. He gets this team going. And you can't help but look at the Detroit Lions this year and at least say, hey, what, like, well deserved. You don't need to say that you're happy for them. I'm not going to force anyone to say that, but this team has earned everything that they've gotten.
No. Listen. The Vikings just lost. It's Vikings misery. That's the show. You don't need to make it worse by gassing up the Lions for 5 minutes.
No, I'm not gassing up the Lions. I'm saying the truth. I mean, that's what this show does. Like, the Lions have been great this year. It sucks. I'm not happy about it. Do you think I like coming on this show and talking about the Packers like they're the next best?
Clearly you do.
No, I do it because I like talking about football, but I'm not going to come out here and just rip the Lions or the Packers for the sake of it. Lions have a great season. Yeah. I wish it was us. David Coombe, slow down, brother. Like, put down the whiskey.
We appreciate you. That's
we
what
really
Paul
appreciate it. We really appreciate it. It's very, very nice. We need a draft commitment. David, I'm going to do the very, very, very best that I can to get down there to get out to Green Bay for the draft. We do have some things in motion that is going on right now.
But we can't make promises just yet. We'll let you know within a month before the draft.
I wonder.
Yeah, it's right. I'm in on the Commanders. So I was
gonna say, I wonder who people in this chat who's rooting for who right now. The rest, look, people ask me a lot of times, Ziggy, they're like, "Oh, who's your second favorite team? If you weren't a Viking fan, who'd you root for?" I'm like, nobody. Nobody. I don't root. I don't have second favorite team. I root for misery. It's sick. It's
who do you want to win the NFC at? Put out the 4 teams left.
If I had to root for someone, it would be the Commanders. It's easily the Commanders. And in the AFC, whatever. I just not the Eagles. I can't have the Eagles win.
Yeah, I don't want the Rams to win either.
No, I don't want the Rams to win. I don't care. Then it's whatever. Michael Beach.
No, you know why you don't want the Rams to win this? Because the Rams won the Super Bowl. Everybody's going to say this was the game where they turned it around.
Yeah, they will. Michael Beach said, "Free Jefferson."
What do you mean free Justin Jefferson?
He did it like 1,600 yards, but no. Look, I mean, Ziggy, Justin disappeared tonight, and part of that is because Sam can hit the backside of a barn. That's what he means. It's really annoying when you have the receivers that we have, and you have.
I don't
games
think
like
that's
this.
true. There were so many times when Justin Jefferson was open and Darnold just wasn't looking his way. O'Connell wasn't scheming opportunities for him. No, I don't think this was a Justin Jefferson disappeared game.
No, that's sorry. I phrased that incorrectly. I was saying like Justin disappeared in the fact that like we did not get him the ball, and that can't happen with a guy like Justin Jefferson. But again, when Sam's as off as he was, like it is what it is. Sam just didn't play well again, and I was really surprised. I thought our other pal Andrew Keenan, who used to be on the show as well. We had a lot of people who used to be on the show. Andrew, big Jets fan. He was taking the Rams tonight, and I was like, why? Why do you keep picking against me? And he just said, Darnold. He said, you will be Darnolded tonight. And I thought he was wrong. I thought that Sam would bounce back, and it was a make or break game in Sam Darnold's career that just did not go well. General Barnaky, looking forward to you guys breaking down the tape. Yeah, because we do. I mean, I'm looking. I don't even want to watch the tape on this game. It was brutal. James Schrader, the Rams will not win in Detroit. They get by Philly first. I mean, there's a chance for a Rams-Detroit NFC Championship game, another rematch there would be fun. Birds for life. Philly will clean up LA for you. Go Birds. Go Eagles.
I appreciate, it's oftentimes our shows are very dominated by fans of a particular fan base. I'm happy that this has been a very diverse viewership.
It is cool.
Though when you answer this poll, Eagles fans are not represented here at all. Lions in first, Commanders in second, Rams in third, Eagles in a distant fourth.
Jared Bruschi, if JJ disappeared as Ghost Sam, disappeared as Ghost Sam would see him then. Yeah, maybe he would see him then if Justin was running around like a ghost. I'd say the AFC teams. I don't mind any of them. They're fine. I don't really care anymore now. Now I'm going to watch the games. We'll give our analysis, but the heart has been ripped out.
Paul, we've been at this for 70
minutes.
This has been a whole lot of misery.
This has been actually very therapeutic for me. The problem for me as a fan is the first, and let me know if you guys agree with this. When I'm watching these games, the first half, I was furious. I was like, what the hell is going on? I'm not shouting out curse words or anything. I'm just like, I'm very disappointed. And then I kind of flipped the switch to optimism. Like that whole second half, I'm looking at the clock and I'm like, how do we win this game?
You told us we couldn't go live because there was a chance the Vikings staged to come back.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of ways that, I am actually at my core, I'm very optimistic. Like I'm always trying to find paths. Notre Dame loses to NIU. I'm looking for the path to get there. Like as Aragorn said, there's always hope. So I was trying to find that, and tonight it didn't work out. Unfortunately, A says cheering for the commies just so Cowboys will then have longest NFC Championship game appearance drought of any team. Wow, when was the Commanders' last one?
It's been a while. I sure can't remember it.
Probably when they beat the Bills in the 90s, right? I guess that was probably it.
Okay, I love this question from Baldhead Dre Lions Pod. Why do you guys talk trash and then don't back it up? Humble yourselves. I always love the questions people direct. It's like we're on the field playing the game. Like, what was I supposed to do to change the outcome of this game? Am I going to call Kevin O'Connell and be like, look, man, you got to throw the ball to Justin Jefferson? Am I going to go in at left tackle and block for Sam Darnold?
I don't know if they're talking about us. We weren't talking that much trash.
You and I were both very aware the Vikings could lose this game.
I don't even remember talking much trash over the course of the season.
No, we felt lucky to be here.
It wasn't trash. It was like, this is amazing. Like, I thought we were going to beat the Lions, but I wasn't coming out there saying, we're going to kick your ass. Jared Goff sucks. This defense sucks.
I had the Lions winning that game. And people were saying Ziggy needs to shut his mouth about the Lions.
No, you can never please everyone, Ziggy. You can never please everyone. But
I do want to we've gotten a ton of questions in the Q&A about this from McLovin and Troy Clausen and a bunch of others. People who are new here just asking what we do in the offseason. It feels bad to have to talk about the offseason. I'd much rather talk about the Vikings Packers.
Yeah, I can't believe the season's over.
The season's over. It's miserable. It's crushing. But I will say, here's the thing. The NFL season is year-round. Because before you know it, we got another month until the Super Bowl happens. And you got 2 weeks. You sort of step back, take a look at the season. Coordinators are coming in, head coaches are being hired. Then guess what? Free agency. Well, free agency is a huge deal. Then you got the draft. Then you got preseason. The offseason, we felt this last year. It goes by instantly. We are all NFL year round because the NFL is a year-round league. So if you've been enjoying us, don't go anywhere. There's plenty of NFL coverage left to come.
And that's part of the part of the fun of football is that, like I was saying before, in the sense that with basketball, you kind of know the contenders preseason, and it almost always works out that way. Football, everyone is a Super Bowl contender every year. Like for the Packers fans, who are out now, for the Vikings fans who are watching who are out now, we've had Patriots fans, everyone, like, you can get better very quickly. If you have a lot of cap space, you can turn your team around very quickly. You could rebuild, and if you just have the quarterback work out, you could be like the Commanders. You could be like the Texans last season. Like there is really always hope in football for your team to have a great season. Now look, for the Vikings, we are one of those teams that just seems to always have it fall apart. That happens to us. Like when the game matters, the big game matters, we do have the tendency to collapse. With that said, we had a great year. Like this was a lot of fun. I mean, Commanders fans, like even if you lose at Detroit, a lot of fun this season. It's there's only one champion. So all you can do is enjoy the season for what it is. My mom always says the joys in the journey, and we move on to next year. Like as Vikings fans now, all right, let's move on to next season. We need to figure out what the hell went wrong, and it can't happen again. Like this, it probably will. I mean, we're the Vikings, but this can't happen. Like it just can't, and O'Connell needs to fix that. I hope he does. Chris C, this game made the Packers' loss much more bearable. Yeah, that's what we do for you guys. It was probably Packers therapy watching this. This was. I'm watching the highlights right now. They're interviewing Jared Verse. Like I don't know what happened, but it was so bad that
I'm not sure the Rams know what happened.
I know.
It looked like on the sideline you watch. It looked like Sean McVay couldn't believe what was happening.
We had two defenses who have. I mean, the Rams defense has been getting better, much better as the year's gone on. But this was not a unit that I feared coming into the game. And the Lions defense had been torn apart for weeks on end. And they destroyed us too. I mean, it's almost like we're a launching pad for these teams to get their defenses ready for the playoff run. And it's so weird because that just wasn't the case. Like after the Packer game, that was arguably the best the offense has been all year, outside of maybe weeks like 2 through 5 or 4. So I just don't know. 7+ sacks and a defensive touchdown. Playoff game lasts 40 years. 4 times. 2024 Rams, 2022 Dolphins, Super Bowl 50 Broncos, Super Bowl 10 Bears. Rams had 9 sacks on Monday night. Ties a playoff record. They'd 5 in the first half, 6 in the first half?
I can't even. The game's just a blur of misery. I barely remember what happened.
All right. Real quick before we go, just drop in the chat if you're watching still. It looks like we still got a good amount of people watching. Tell us who you're rooting for the remainder of the playoffs. Give us that, whether it's AFC, NFC, what team are you cheering on for the remainder of the postseason? And if you're not cheering on a team, just say, screw it, no one. No.
And we've got an answer to our poll. Where are the Vikings going next? The winner is Cancun, but with Cabo close behind.
Oh, you put that out? Oh, that's horrible. Cancun, that's really funny. Yeah, look, Jack was texting us during the game, and Jack said, "Hey, join me, guys. Like, join me and the Steelers." And nobody's the right answer.
Steelers, Packers, Vikings, just joint plane.
Oh, why you mad? Said answer the Q&As. All right, while we finish here, Ziggy, could you read out?
We'll go to a couple Q&As.
Sorry about that.
We'll see what we can get in. A lot of people have asked, keep Darnold or go with JJ McCarthy. I think keeping Darnold around for another year is fine. He can play in the regular season. He's a decent quarterback. He's better, I think, than most of the other free agents, and he likes Minnesota. JJ McCarthy has always been the future for this team. No doubt about it.
I'm just saying, get ready for the Rodgers rumors. I'm telling you right now, get ready for the Rodgers rumors.
Noah Strawmess, can we all come together and root for the Texans? Hey, we got some Texans fans here. Why not?
That's cool.
I don't mind the Texans.
Yep, I'm on board.
Wiggly Joker asked, there's some buzz from some Packers fans about them getting an edge rusher like Max Crosby or a solid wide receiver one like Higgins. Would you put any stock in those rumors? I don't think Max Crosby is for sale.
Yeah, that's hard to see.
Mark Davis has made it very clear that he doesn't want Crosby to leave no matter what. There was talk about listing him. It didn't happen. A wide receiver one like T. Higgins, a wide receiver is easier to get than an elite edge rusher. I don't think you can get, like, you can't get Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase, but those like second and third tier wide receiver ones, like T. Higgins is hitting free agency. The Packers can make a competitive bid if they want. I think there's a real possibility they try and do that to help out Jordan
Yeah, I'd
Love.
like to see what T. Higgins would look like as the wide receiver one, because you have to remember his whole career he's had, or most of his career, he's had Jamar Chase right there.
Yeah, but also if you go back and watch him, he's very talented.
Oh,
and when Jamar Chase has been out, he's played very well.
Patrick Simith, good morning from Germany. Feel sorry for you guys, but I'm a Packer fan, so it feels good. Well, good morning to you. Hopefully your day's off to a great start. Guten Morgen. Yeah, I'm glad that you are having a happy morning, Patrick. Do we have one from who was asking us? Why you mad was saying answer the Q&As. Did he ask a question? We could rapid fire through some of these Q&As if you see them.
Why you mad? I got the Ravens taking it all. What do y'all think?
I got dude. When Derrick Henry's running like
you're not beating Buffalo.
I mean, the first game they played, that when Derrick Henry's on the way he was against Pittsburgh, they are a tough team to stop. When he's running downhill like that, I mean, the winner's probably going to lose to Kansas City. That's my thought.
Shoeless asks, my concern for Minnesota was always the Florida's defense. It worked well against young QBs, but Vets sort of torched it. Thoughts? I don't think it's as simple as like Vets versus non-Vets. It's just the Florida's defense is feast or famine. When you can get pressure, it's great. When you can't get pressure, it's a disaster. And this game, the defense played more or less well enough to win. Disastrous start. Then they got it together and clutched up, especially in the second half. I think the offense was the main problem in this game. I don't know if you agree, Paul.
Yeah, the offense was the problem. Defense didn't. I mean, the defense was okay. They settled down. The start was really bad, but yeah, I mean, come on. The offense threw the game away at the end of the half. Interception, fumble, and then turnover on downs. Directly led to the 2 touchdowns to end the half. And then they couldn't score.
Ben Lemmer asks, outside QB, what's the biggest need for Minnesota heading into next year? Cornerback.
Yeah, cornerback. It's been that way for a long time. Byron Murphy was great this year, but cornerback.
All right. We've got 1 or 2 more questions here, then. It's been a while. I think we're going to have to call it. This is from M2. What does your gut say about LA's chance to take down Detroit?
Well, I mean, first they got to go to Philly. They
almost did it last year.
Well, they got to go to Philly first.
Yeah, but this Eagles team, I think the Rams have a chance there. They really do. The Eagles were not impressive against the Packers.
Look, man, shout out to Bubba. Love you guys. Shout out to Spencer Geller. The Ram, like the way the Rams defense played tonight, you're not gonna. The Eagles offensive line probably won't let that happen, and the Eagles tend to step up in big games as well. So I don't think that you'll have the record for sacks in a game. And Jalen Hurts a little more mobile than Sam is as well, but he's banged up. But when you have Matthew Stafford, this is the thing. They showed the graphic. Like Matthew Stafford, I think, has the most yards ever in the playoff games. He averages the most yards ever for a quarterback who's played in at least 5 playoff games. He is a Super Bowl winner. Remember, people were getting on us for saying, "Why do you believe in Stafford?" Like it's almost like you believe just because of the Super Bowl. And we said, "Yeah, because he's won a Super Bowl, I believe that he can go on these runs." He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Not a lot of guys in the league have won a Super Bowl.
Nope. He's got dynamic receivers. Kyron Williams is an excellent running back. The Rams have everything there to go on a run. And this is again, unfortunately, we are a great launching pad for teams now, it seems. So I can see him going into Philly. And then against the Lions, that's a dogfight. That is not a game that the Lions are going to walk over. Whoever the Lions play in the NFC Championship game, if they beat the Commanders, who will also be a difficult game in the divisional, it's going to be a battle. You have to go against Stafford and a Rams team that has lost to you the last 2 times in very, very good games, both in Detroit, both on the road for the Rams. Or you're going to get an Eagles team with that high-powered offense, Saquon Barkley coming to town, and the number 1 defense in football statistically right now. So the NFC games are going to be a battle. I can't wait to see Jane Daniels go into Detroit. Can't wait to see Matthew. But if for Philadelphia, if you could, I think Matthew Stafford's the last quarterback you want in the conference going in to that building because he's someone that you know is going to show up. Matthew Stafford won't fold in the playoff game. That's just not going to happen. Birds for life. How y'all going to pull? How y'all going to pull for a division rival over Philly? I don't know. I don't look if
I don't know.
I don't.
I'll
care.
say this is. I think
I'll probably root for. I won't root for anyone. If it's Lions
I
Eagles,
want the Commanders to win. That's what it is.
If it's Lions Eagles, I'm just going to root for the AFC.
We've got one last question here,
okay.
and I think this question sort of encapsulates the whole stream. So I think it's a good one to go finish with. It's from Jacob Bogdan. He asks a simple question: are you guys at least optimistic for the future?
Am I optimistic for the Vikings' future?
Here's what I'll say.
I am.
Look, the Vikings overcame the odds and won 14 games this season.
Yeah, 14
I get
wins.
this the regular season. I get this another playoff disappointment. It is hard to win. Everyone's coming in saying the Vikings schedule was easy. No, they played an NFL schedule and won 14 games in the hardest division in football. I don't want to hear about the easy schedule. I don't want to hear about how this team is fraud. They played well this year. And going forward, they've got great skill position players. I think the defense is going to continue to be good. We've got a lot of guys on deals. There's easy pieces to address. We've seen what free agency can do. So I'm not going to sit here and be super pessimistic. Do I think this team is winning a Super Bowl anytime soon? No. I think it's going to take at least a couple years for J.J. McCarthy to get up to speed. We've seen it. Year one can be good, but year two is really a struggle. It just takes time. But I think you have to be crazy after this isn't like the Jaguars making the AFC Championship game, right? This was a legit season from us. I think you're crazy to not be at least a little bit optimistic as a Vikings fan for the future, right?
Yeah.
As much as I want to sit here and say misery is endless, I don't believe it's that bad.
Kwesi has done a great job since passing on Kyle Hamilton. He's done a very good job. Kevin O'Connell, I still think is one of the best coaches in the league. Again, really, 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 really bad last two games. Unfathomably bad. But it all comes down to, it's all about getting the quarterback. That's what it comes down to. And it doesn't appear Sam's that guy. We'll see what happens with his future with the Vikings. Look, if they bring him back, I'll be cheering for him as hard as anyone. I'm not going to complain about it. He had a great regular season. He's still 27, which is kind of crazy. He can't take 6 sacks in the first half. That he's at the podium right now talking about it. I'm optimistic. This is a team with Justin Jefferson. It's a team with a lot of young players on defense who are good, but they are clearly a few pieces away, and they clearly need to find the quarterback who can get the job done. And maybe it's J.J. McCarthy. Maybe O'Connell thinks it can be Sam Darnold. I mean,
maybe it can be Aaron Rodgers.
Maybe it's Aaron Rodgers. But there are a lot of good players on this football team. I think the coaching staff is great. I think the GM is smart, and it's just going to come down to finding the way, and that depends on quarterback, to get to that next level. I mean, look who we're losing to. Jared Goff has clearly taken that step up. Matthew Stafford, one of the elite quarterbacks in the league. Like, you need to have the guy. I hate to say it, Darnold in Detroit and LA fell apart. That's why we're here. That's why we're eliminated. He was so bad in those two games that we were knocked out after a 14.
This wasn't like Kirk Cousins playing mediocre football. This was a single-handed loss on Darnold. It was a disaster.
Yeah, this was him just falling apart twice. And it sucks because he had a great year, but I am optimistic still. I'll find ways. Most wins in regular season, lost playoff opener, NFL history. Packers, 15 wins in 2011. Vikings, Ravens, Patriots, Chargers, Colts, Bears, all at 14. Yeah, I mean, this was a historically great season, record-wise, for the Vikings that ended horribly. So, all right, we'll wrap it up there. The Vikings, one touchdown.
Do we have to read the final score? I don't even want to think.
Yeah, it's fine. One touchdown in the final 2 games. One touchdown in the final 9 quarters.
And that was a gimme touchdown, honestly.
What was the score of the Lions game?
I know we put up 9 points in both games. It was 9-31.
So 58-18 were outscored to end the season. Terrible ending to a great year, but it happens. Sometimes you have bad games. So we appreciate everyone. This was a great live for us. This was a record-breaking live.
We appreciate all of you. And again, if you enjoyed this, hit that subscribe button.
Hit the subscribe button. We appreciate you very much. We went for 2.6 thousand people at the peak we're watching this, and so many generous people. David Kuhn was in here a lot. We said Master Witty Roaster with a $100 donation. Super nice to you guys. We've had it's been a really fun season. For the Packers success, the Vikings success, the Lions success, all the reactions
it's you
we've
guys
done.
that make it fun. We've run this channel now for like 4 years. We've had some years where there haven't been fans. This has been far and away our biggest year. You guys are what make it so fun and worth doing.
Yeah, so we appreciate everybody so much, and we're gonna keep having more content. You know, season's not over. There are a lot of Lions fans in this chat who are saying, "Hey, don't forget about us. Like, we're still
We
out
ain't
here."
forgotten.
And
even when the season is over, we're gonna have more content.
Yeah, look,
it
now,
never ends. It's the NFL. We do 2 videos a week year round.
Dude, and then with the drafts will come back, we'll do some draft content. And by drafts, I mean like we're drafting things like, you know, the best yellow objects, which are fun drafts, best movies of all time, and football ones. Yeah, and football. We'll also do the NFL draft. So we're gonna have a great offseason. But look, NFL playoffs is still going on. For me, it's a little bit easier now to just kick my feet up and grab a pina colada and just watch the games. Takes the stress out. Obviously, I would rather have the Vikings in than out, but all right, off to Cancun as the chat poll dictated. So appreciate everybody again, and we will see you guys. Actually, I'm gonna have to go over and walk over and end the stream because our producers have left. Appreciate you guys so much, and the playoffs roll on. Hey, go Irish, Ziggy. That's what we want. Go Irish.
Yeah,
bring it home for us.
Notre Dame's going to be even worse. I just know it. But last line: if you're here, Blind Willie Johnson, Dark was